Good morning, America. My name is Michael Evans, and you're listening to America's Voice Now. Say it ain't so, America. Say it ain't so. Alabama lawmaker gets an email from one of his constituents, and the guy is saying to him, please don't. He sent out a mass email asking all of the state legislators, not to even attempt to introduce a gun control bill because it was, in his opinion, a violation of state law. Alabama lawmakers' response: your folk never used all this SH word to protect my folk from your slave-holding, murdering, adulterous, baby-raping, incestuous, snaggle-toothed, backward AASSED, inbred, imported, criminal-minded kinfolk. What? State Rep Joe Mitchel, a Democrat, and obviously a racist, had the unmitigated gall to respond that way to a constituent. Mr. Maxwell, the recipient of that hapless letter, said, that's not the type of reply I expect to receive from a state legislator. I'm not a racist, and I find your reply to be especially offensive, considering the position you hold. Mitchell, who was black, he's the senator, or the congressman, did not respond to email and telephone messages seeking comments. He told the Associated Press, when they questioned him, that he was explaining that citizens who descended from slaves and were disenfranchised by the state constitution have a different view of history and the Constitution than white citizens. Really? Really? So what you're trying to tell us, Mr. Mitchell, what you're trying to say is that you're entitled to your own facts and your own reality, even when it's in conflict with truth. This is the Constitution that declared that all men are created equal and entitled to equal protection under the law, which is how you got to be a congressman. Otherwise, in your ancestral home back in Zimbabwe or Nigeria or wherever you came from, or your ancestral ancestors came from, you would be nothing more than a slave to some tyrannical tin pot dictator who's been managing and manipulating that little country for decades. Why the racial tones, Mr. Maxwell? Because the constituent simply said, don't pass a law introducing a gun control bill. Well, let me tell you something. The original gun control acts in this country were based and geared upon one predicated purpose, and that was to keep guns out of the hands of blacks. So for your information, gun control is a racial issue. Unfortunately, you're on the wrong side of it. Your folk never used all this SH to protect my folk. Okay, really? Well, let me inform you that there were millions of Americans that fought during the Civil War, in part to free your folk. Millions of white folk. Your folk never used all this blank to protect my folk from your slave-holding, yes they did, murdering, I don't know where you're getting that, adulterous, how is that any of your business, baby raping, prove it, liar, incestuous, well, what makes you think blacks and whites are any less incestuous than the other group? Snaggle-toothed, oh, that's just low. Backward-assed, inbred, imported, criminal-minded kinfolk. Well, let's clear up the imported for a moment because, quite frankly, we're all imported. Unless your skin is red, you and I and all of our ancestors are imported. So, Mr. Mitchell, you might want to consider what kind of misinformed, misanthropic mentality you're using when you respond to your constituents. Criminal-minded kinfolk. I would like you, Mr. Mitchell, to immediately resign. But before you do, I'd like you to come out with a bullet-pointed explanation for each of those accusations. And then at the end say, you know what? I am so wrong. I am such a racist. I am so biased. I am incapable of doing my job with objectivity, neutrality, and the true focus and goal of this job, which is to represent all the people. You wonder, politicians, why Americans hate you. This is why. You're biased. You're liars. You manufacture your own truth and then couch it and purport it around as if it was gospel written in the Book of Washington. You're all about your own personal agenda. And we, as Americans, are sick to death of it. And we're sick to death of you. I liked a Facebook page this morning. You know what it is? The 2013 Million Nation March. I suggest you go and like it yourself. It started 16 hours ago. It has 26 likes as of this morning. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it falls in line, although far short of my goal, of having millions of Americans go to Washington with torches and pitchforks and basically lay out this line. We ain't leaving till you get out. How's that? We're not leaving till you do. All of you. And we need to take our country back by sheer force of numbers, legally and peacefully. But I have had enough. It doesn't matter that you might lose your job or won't be able to pay your mortgage that month, because in short order, none of that's going to matter anyway. The dollar is about to collapse. It's only a matter of time. And all of that will come to naught anyhow. You're listening to America's Voice. We'll be right back.
The The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, your Class 3 dealer for automatic weapons and suppressors, including Gemtech and Huntertown, with a great selection of holsters, slings, magazines, and gun storage options. West Plains Pawn and Jewelry will also do special orders. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
Having difficulty with your computer? Do you think it has a mind of its own? Well, don't be alarmed. This happens to everyone at some point in time. Worry no more. Computer Dave and Kyle can help you out with PC Geeks, a weekly show right here on 107.1 The Point. Tune in Thursdays at 1 o'clock to ask computer-related questions and listen to the web topic of the week. That's PC Geeks here on 107.1 The Point.
Okay. We're returning. We're going to be joined by a gentleman this morning who is going to bring us up to speed on a nutritional supplement that's commonly known as colloidal silver. I think Mr. Mitchel from Alabama could probably use about, 100,000 gallons of this. Drink it out of a fire hose. Maybe it might straighten his brain out. Colloidal silver, as you know, is used predominantly by folk for a lot of different health ailments, none of which are FDA approved. And so I will throw out the precursor on this particular discussion we're going to have with Mr. Rickard, that the issue of colloidal silver is one that, like stevia and many other products which are out there, basically, they say you can't make claims as to its health values or benefits and blah, blah, blah. However, lots and lots of people take it for lots and lots of good reasons, and it does have its uses. And so Mr. Rickard is going to kind of bring us up to speed on how and why, and he also is a producer of it. He makes it and does offer it as a seller. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine.
Great. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
We like to try to keep our audience informed about all the different aspects of life, whether that be whether it's your health or your self-reliance or your self-sufficiency, or whether that's politics and how it affects you. And so I'm glad that you were able to join us this morning.
Well, thank you for offering to ask me.
You're welcome. So you are a producer and a seller of colloidal silver. Colloidal silver for a healthy life. Can you give us some examples of why people do utilize colloidal silver and how they, I guess, how do you take it, right? Because there's a lot of different ways. I mean, some people take it and ingest it with a spoon or drink it, and some do, use nasal sprayers and pumps and all kinds of things. Kind of give us a brief overview on what some of the general consensus is on why colloidal silver is valuable to the health, to your health.
Well, they use it for a lot of reasons. Like some people use it as eyedroppers, put it in an eyedropper and put it in their ear if they have a cold coming on.
Mm-hmm.
My wife has sinus problems sometimes, and we have a nasal sprayer, so that goes in there.
Gotcha.
Some people might spritz it on their face in the morning when they get up, or put it on their toothbrush. They use a mister for that.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend of mine who had a sty one time in his eye, that you get that pink eye thing, and he used an eyedropper for that.
Well, actually, if you got pink eye, what I've used is one of those eye cups.
Okay. I see. You just put it in the eye cup and then kind of rinse the whole eye out?
Right.
I got you. That's probably a better way to do it.
Well, it's concentrated more so on the eye than just like dropping, but you can drop it in there for... My wife has sometimes, like your eyes are tired because it's been a windy day or something.
Sure.
You just use eye drops. Might use that at night.
Gotcha. You actually sell a a product called the Iconic Silver Generator, which actually makes colloidal silver. So if someone wanted to, they could buy this device. I think it's about $250, and they can actually make their own rather than trying to have to buy it from you or someone else who's out in the marketplace. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the value is of making your own? I mean, other than the obvious cost factors.
Right. Well, the generator itself comes with a few items. It's the generator. You get 2 silver rods. They're 3/9 pure silver.
Mm-hmm.
You got a timer, which you set for 3 hours, and you've got a scratcher, which you clean your rods off.
Okay.
While making it, you
use what?
Steam distilled water.
Okay.
You put that in a quart jar. You put the rods in the generator, set it down in there. The manufacturer says after 3 hours, you take it out and you have a product that's 7 to 10 parts per million.
I see. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but what this essentially does is it infuses a water, just plain Jane water, although I'm sure it's purified or ionized or whatever water. It basically infuses that water with microscopic particles of silver. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it's steam distilled that I use.
Okay.
And it's more or less electrically put into it.
Okay, so it's the reverse of electrolysis. Am I correct?
It is electrolysis.
Okay. So explain, if you can, for our listenership, because to be honest with you, I think a lot of people hear the term colloidal silver, and I'm not sure they really understand what it is and you know how it's used and what its benefits are. The practice of silver, by the way, and one thing I will mention is that scientifically we know that silver has certain properties that are very, very good for purification purposes. As an example, a lot of water filtration systems are impregnated with silver in the actual filter itself, and for whatever reason that seems to have the ability to decontaminate water. So I guess the idea with this is that essentially this isn't just decontaminating the water, but it's helping to decontaminate some of the contaminants in your body. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, they actually used it in a space program to clean their water, too.
Right, right. So, I mean, we know that there's true scientific documentation for the health benefits, or at least the capability of silver to act as a bacterial reducer.
Correct.
So, when you take this, I mean, do you drink it? Do you mix it with your coffee? How do you do it?
Well, I know of some people use like an eyedropper full and put it into their juice or water and drink it every morning.
Okay.
I usually take a shot of it. My wife and I do.
I see you sell a shot glass on your website, so I was kind of assuming that wasn't for tequila.
Well, actually, the reason I use that particular glass is because it's got increments. So if you wanted a teaspoon, you could get a teaspoon. If you wanted a tablespoon or a full shot.
I got you. Okay. I got you. So, and I noticed that there's a nasal sprayer with a bottle as well. So you would use that as an example if you were getting a sinus infection or if you were prone to sinus problems.
Correct.
Okay. So when this particular device that you sell, this ionic silver generator, it runs around $250 plus shipping and handling. And literally, folks can, I mean, with the arrival of this, all they really need is the water. Is that correct?
Well, colloidal silver, you'd have steam distilled water, yes. But there's a few other things besides the kit you might need. One thing that doesn't come with it is a quart jar.
Okay. Which, I mean, you can get any kind of like a mason jar and use that, right?
That's basically what it is a mason jar.
Okay.
There's a few other things that I use besides this water. I use an EC3 meter. That lets me know about what the parts per million is. It measures it electrically. It's electric continuity meter, but it's supposed to be pretty well equivalent to parts per million.
Sure. Now I've seen colloidal silver sold in the parts per million ranges, and I've seen it, 7 or 10 or even as high as 20 parts per million. And so explain to us what why you would want, let's say, 20 parts per million instead of say 7 or 10.
Well, I'd want to use 20 parts per million, like for exterior. I even may do it in the nose.
I see.
Or
Okay.
as a mister in the throat, or eyedropper for the ears, or if I got cuts on my hands or elsewhere, I'd put that on it.
Okay, so the higher strength is if you're going to use it into a balm or something along those lines.
That's right. Some people didn't like the mist, and they asked me to start making a gel, and I started making a gel at 20 parts per million.
Oh, okay.
And that works out real well. Put it on a Band-Aid, or put it on and let it soak in very shortly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean, it sounds to me like you've got a pretty good history of understanding what the uses and the capabilities of this are. I'm going to give out your phone number if I can. It's 1-800-683-5718. Again, that is 1-800-683-5718. If there's anyone who's interested in talking with Carl and or obtaining either the actual colloidal silver or the silver generator, which you can make your own, you can call him at that number, and you can also go to his website at CC Silver LLC. So let me just give that to you again so you get it. It's CC, like Charlie, the word silver, and then followed by LLC, or Limited Liability Corporation. ccsilverllc.com. And you can go over to his website. You actually sell the colloidal silver itself. Is that correct?
Yes, I sell it in 1 ounce, 2 ounce, 8 ounce,
Okay.
32 ounce, and by gallons.
Sure.
In the 5 parts per million, 10 parts per million, and 20 parts per million.
Okay. So, and I mean, I'm looking at this. It's not very expensive. A 1 ounce of this is $3 or $3.50 or $4. What does a gallon of this cost? I mean, roughly. You don't have to be exact, but
well, I usually don't. Well, I have sold it by the gallon. Usually, I sell it. I take about a half of what a price of a quart is off of it if you're going to buy a gallon. So it'd be like buying 3.5 quarts of it. The quart bottles run. Quart bottles for the 5 is $25, 10 is $35, and 20 parts per million is $40.
okay. So if you're taking this by the teaspoonful of the shot glass, the quart would last you quite a while. So
yes,
it sounds like the kind of thing that you would use as perhaps an ordinary supplement, just like when you take your vitamins in the morning and the rest of that, right?
Yes.
So, okay, we're going to have a break coming up. Folks, I'm going to give you that information one more time so that you can get a hold of Carl if you'd like. His telephone number, again, is 1-800-683-5718. And the website is available at CC, like Charlie, Silver, LLC. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I see you have some other products up on your site, and of course the Silver Edge, the ionic silver generator, and it sounds or it looks like a relatively easy thing to operate. How do you replace the silver rods? I mean, where would you get a replacement for a silver rod?
I have replacements myself. When I'm making silver, I use 4/9 pure silver.
Right.
Which is a step up from the 3/9 that you normally get with the generator.
Okay.
That was just a personal thing.
I got you.
But if they need some, I can sell them.
What does a replacement rod cost?
About $35 for a foot, which would be 2 rods. 6-inch rods go into the machine.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we've got a break coming up, and we're gonna do the capitalist thing here in a moment. So basically, they can buy replacement rods from you, and this entire kit runs about $250 plus shipping and handling, I'm sure. And they can simply go onto your website and order it, or give you a call and have it ordered as well. Correct?
Correct.
Great. We're going to take a break. You're listening to America's Voice Now. We have with us this morning Carl Rickard. He is the purveyor of CC Silver LLC, which is basically a colloidal silver site where he not only offers the products themselves, but also offers the Silver Edge, a silver generator, so you can manufacture your own. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll get one or two final questions through with Carl, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. A message to North Korea. The Air Force conducts B-2 bomber runs over South Korea as part of joint military drills. Those runs aren't usually announced.
Those stealth bombers were flown all the way from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, where they're based. They carried out their mission over some islands off the west coast of North Korea and then returned home. They carried inert weapons, not live bombs, but they are capable of launching nuclear-armed cruise missiles.
Fox's Steve Centani at the Pentagon. New details are released, including search warrants about the Newtown, Connecticut school shooting. The prosecutor leading the investigation says Adam Lanza killed himself within 5 minutes of entering the building after killing 20 kids and 6 adults with a Bushmaster .223 caliber rifle. He used a Glock 10mm handgun to kill himself, had another loaded handgun with him, and a loaded shotgun in his car. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Thanks to our friends over at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. You can reach Brian down there at 870-492-4030. It's located a half mile east of Walmart on 3225 Route 62, Mountain Home. My dear friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, the best damn bakery in 100 miles. She's located at number 2 Evans Arcade, and you can call her at 255-2253. My friends over at Pizza Hut on Porter Wagoner Boulevard. They have an outstanding lunch opportunity. You can, from 11 till 2, and you can have salad and pizza, something tasty and something good for you. Our friends Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 293-0116. If you're considering doing any kind of remodeling, new or custom construction and or light commercial, give Bill a call and let him bid on your next project. Our friends at the Battery Station at 303 Washington Avenue, 417-257-7799. They can be found at thebatterystation.com. Our friends over at West Plains Pawn and Gun, an outstanding opportunity with 400 firearms under glass. You can reach them at 417-256-3000, and they are located at westplainspawn.com. Located physically at Highway 160, about a mile past Walmart on the right-hand side. And finally, the sponsor of our phone lines, Wits End Classic Barbershop, located on the square in West Plains. Best haircut you can get for $10, and a nice young man as well. Please visit and support our sponsors.
Last time on the Dennis Miller Show.
At an event thrown by the website Politico, Bill Gates said, quote, "Some days I wish we had a system like the UK, quote, to give Obama more power." Yeah, some days I wish Windows worked like Apple. How's that, Billy Boy? These guys are fetishistic. He's in the, he wants it to work more like the UK. He wants to see Obama padding around in one of those powder
Weekdays from 9 till noon, it's the Dennis Miller Zone on the Ozark's Best News Talk 107.1.
News Talk 107.1 The Point weather sponsorships are available for your business marketing plans. Contact Cody or Josh at 255-2548 for more information.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, a mostly cloudy sky, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for a shower through the day, the high 56. Mostly cloudy tonight with a few showers, low 42. Tomorrow cloudy, good chance for showers, high 56 degrees. Saturday mostly cloudy, showers and thunderstorms, high 60. I'm meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Ron Paul this week on the Alan Colmes Show, one of the few in Congress to oppose the Iraq War from the start. The former congressman and presidential candidate will be here to explain how he knew he was making the right choice and what Congress can do to avoid another unpopular war. Plus, does the modern environmental movement represent the greatest threat to Western civilization? Someone believes it does, and will be with us this week on the Alan Colmes Show.
Weekdays 9 to midnight on the Ozark's Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
Okay, we are returning. Our guest this morning is Carl Rickard. He is the purveyor of ccsilverllc.com, where he provides colloidal silver as a product and offers a generator to make your own. You know, Carl, one of the things that you kind of wonder about there are a lot of products out there which are not. This is not like an FDA approved, product for any specific malady, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And
right.
We hear the same thing about things like stevia, which we know that stevia is a great sweetener. And not to jump off the subject, but it's the same concept and topic. Stevia is a wonderful sweetener, except for the fact that the sugar producers in this country and the sugar industry made sure that stevia has to be called a supplement, so it can't be sold as a sweetener. So, one, it costs a ton more money than it ought to, and two, it works even better, and it doesn't have some of the negative effects of sugar, which is known to feed cancer, as an example, right?
Correct.
So, what we have, in my opinion, is with colloidal silver is the other problem is that somebody can't patent it and therefore make billions upon it. And so since you can make your own, immediately they knock it down as quackery and what have you. I can't say because I've never taken it myself. You have. What are some of the health benefits that you, on a personal level, have seen? Have you, is there something specific that you can point to?
Yes, just a few weeks ago, I started having a sore throat, and it got sore and sore and sore, and I was taking a little bit of silver and honey and other stuff, but after 5 days, it was really getting bad. So I went ahead and started taking like 8 ounces 3 times a day, and by the middle of the second day, it completely gone away.
I see. So basically you increased what you were using, and that helped to resolve the problem.
For a short time, yes.
Okay.
Also, some people are afraid of, like taking too much.
Right.
I have a chart for drops per pound, like if somebody wanted to take it. FDA decided how much you could safely take, and I put together a chart like per pounds anywhere between 10 and 40 pounds using either 5 parts per million, 10 parts per million, or 20 parts per million.
Sure.
So if anybody wanted to give me their email address, I could email them my price list, my parts per pound chart.
Okay. We've got a caller on the line, and we'll take that call, and maybe you can answer a question for them. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to give a testimony because I started using it, and it's amazing. And it's in one of my things on my list for the end times. Be sure to have lots of colloidal silver because you could have. Well, I use it topically. I don't drink it only because it's kind of expensive if you buy it at the health food store. But like if you have a cut or any kind of a thing that could get infected, I just spray some on, and it works way faster than any other kind of antibiotic or anything like that. It's just amazing.
Well, we do know that, from a medical perspective, they use silver in wound dressings and in antibiotic ointments and coatings that are used in medical devices. So,
right.
I get it that, the FDA doesn't want to, and part of that, I guess, is the fact that, there's no way to regulate how much is in a particular mixture. Carl, is that right? I mean, is there a way to say, well, 7 parts per million versus 50 parts per million is, 50 is too much or whatever?
Also, you should talk about the history, how the rich people always had silverware, and that's because when you eat with a silver spoon or whatever, it keeps you healthier than if you had a wooden spoon or something like that. So
gotcha.
That's how
Good point.
Silverware got started, is because it does because of the health benefits.
I gotcha.
But I just want to say, as a testimony, it is amazing what it does.
Great. Well, thank you very much for that input. I appreciate it. Carl?
Yeah, if it's
Go ahead.
That's why I use an EC meter to give me an idea of what it exactly is, whether it's 5, 10, or 20, or 50.
Gotcha.
Actually, the meter doesn't read 50 parts per million. I'm using somebody else's source to make the 50 parts per million.
I see. Okay. So basically what we do know is that silver is bioactive on its face, right? And if it's used in a concentration that's high enough, it does kill bacteria. And we know that. I mean, the FDA can say whatever they want, but when you use the example of it being water filtration systems being impregnated with silver, we know that it actually has the capability to destroy some bioactive particles. And so my suggestion, I guess, is that you can make your own judgment about it, but it would be something certainly worth trying as a nutritional supplement. We know it's in antibacterial creams and things like that. Now, you mentioned that you sell some kind of a salve or a balm.
Well, I call it a gel.
A gel, okay.
I've got two types. I've got the 20 parts per million because people asked me to make it that way, and then lately some people are asking for 50 parts per million. So I've just come out with a 50 parts per million. People use that like on, let's say, a dog or a cat or something has an infection or a cut or a scratch. They may use that heavier on it. I started using it myself just recently. Okay.
So let me give out your information again before we get to the end of our segment, because the break will be coming up here in any minute. The way to reach Carl, folks, is you can go to his website, of course, which is ccsilverllc.com. That's CC like Charlie or credit card, silver, the word, SILVER, LLC, and then that's .com. You can also call Carl on a toll-free number. It's 1-800-683-5718. Again, that's 1-800-683-5718. Or you can send him an email, and that is crickard@ccsilverllc.com. That's C as in Carl, Rickard, RICKARD. And so it's his first initial and his last name, at ccsilverllc.com. So, Carl, I'm assuming that you've got these products in stock and ready to be able to ship out to these folks if they want the silver generator to produce their own. Now, can they produce a high parts per million utilizing this generator and then make their own balm, as an example, or their own gel or whatever?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess another question is, could you take a standard antibiotic ointment that you buy and add silver to that by taking a high parts per million and mixing some water in with that, or mixing it into another gel? Would that be helpful, do you think?
It might be, but then you might be conflicting the usage of it.
The silver with whatever chemical they put in there.
Right.
I got you.
Some people, go ahead.
That's all right. Go ahead. Some people what?
Some people use it with peroxide, but if you put too much peroxide with it, there's a very violent reaction between the silver and the peroxide.
I see. Okay. You mentioned to me the other day, too, that, shucks, I forgot what my question was. It doesn't mix well. Alcohol can reverse heavy alcohol use can reverse the effects.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but it's possible that if somebody was an alcoholic or drank alcoholic to excess, there may be a problem with the silver itself interacting with the body.
I got you. Okay.
Also, there's another phone number they can get me at.
Oh, okay, sure. Give that out.
573.
Okay.
355 7601.
Okay, one more time, Carl.
573 355 7601.
Okay, great. Okay, Carl, I want to take a second to thank you for joining with us this morning and kind of educating our listeners about what you do and the benefits or the effects of colloidal silver. Folks, again, his website is ccsilverllc.com. You can get a hold of him by dialing his phone number here, 573-355-7601, or you can send him an email at crickard@ccsilverllc.com. Carl, thank you very much for taking the time to join with us this morning and kind of bring us up to speed on that. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for asking me.
You're very welcome. Have yourself a great day.
You too.
Folks, I hope that was educational or informational for you. I've never taken colloidal silver, but I know a lot of folks that have, and they swear up and down by it. So if it's not something you've ever done before and you'd like to learn more about it, I encourage you to do your own homework, your own research, your own due diligence, determine that it is or isn't a product that you want to be involved with, and move forward from there. We will take some calls when we come back, and I will talk about one other news story that is coming up, so this should be a good segment for you. Hang on, we'll be right back.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry.
Online at westplainspawn.com.
Top of the line new and used optics from Nikon, Leopold, Burris, Redfield, Zeiss, and Schmidt & Bender. Ask about their selection of binoculars, laser sights, and night vision goggles. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
Hi, it's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Joe Kernan of CNBC Squawk Box joins me to talk about how long and how far this rally can go and whether or not Apple's ever going to get back on board, though they had a wonderful day on Friday. And I'll be joined by Congressman Tom Cotton, around whom considerable swirl continues to spin, because he might be running for the United States Senate.
Sundays from 6 till 7, following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
The further we reach out, the closer we all become. Hey, it's Nate Cooper here with the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. I invite you to join us Sunday mornings. The program is a combination of local and national known speakers. So I encourage you to do two things. Listen in on Sunday mornings from 8 until noon and find out how you can become a sponsor of one of the programs. Just call our offices at 255-0427. Beyond the Point, Sundays on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Okay. A couple of quick notes, and I want to talk about this story here about local police departments now, because the DHS has been buying up so much ammo. Local police departments are grappling with the ammo shortage by actually having to barter among themselves. So you've got Police Department A calling up Police Department B and saying, hey, listen, we'll swap you some .40 caliber for some 9. You got to be kidding me. Is that insane or what? While DHS is seamlessly buying literally billions of rounds of ammunition in an attempt to, 1, dry up the U.S. market for civilians and obviously law enforcement, and 2, to make sure that they've got enough ammunition to kill everybody in the country at least 10 times, because 8's not enough. You got to be flipping kidding me, right? Local police departments can't get ammo because the DHS is cleaning out the marketplace. Folks, this is de facto gun control. And anything else that you use or say about it is a lie. This is a simple method of the federal government to accomplish something by actions which they cannot get approved legislatively. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of tyranny. Tyranny. How can you ask one law enforcement department to call up another one and actually see if these guys will be willing to swap them some 12-gauge shotgun shells for 9mm because the cops can't do their job without enough ammo? You've got to be kidding. That is just unconscionable. And to make matters worse, that New Jersey congressman I talked about last week, there's actually 2 of them. 2 New Jersey congressmen, a gentleman by the name of Leonard Lance, and there was another one, I think his name was Hulskamp. have both been making contact with DHS in an attempt to get them to come in and do some kind of a congressional briefing. They've submitted letters to the DHS. Among, by the way, there's 15 or 18 other senators who have, and congressmen who have also done the same thing. DHS won't even answer them. They won't even answer the letters. So you got to wonder what the heck is really going on here. This Janet Napolitano is so out of control. She has become I'm telling you, if you look up the word tyrant in the dictionary, Janet Napolitano's picture is there front and center. I'm telling you, this woman should be removed from office. Now, she won't be because she's part of the entire tyranny of Washington. But after a week from a letter being sent, Lance's office still hasn't even received a response, and there were 15 other members of Congress who were being stonewalled by the DHS. Instead of a formal explanation, DHS has released a glib statement to the media claiming that the amount of ammunition that they purchased was not abnormal and that the bullets were bought in bulk because it's cheaper for the agency and that the rounds were for training purposes only. Let me inform you, America, and remind those of you who understand firearms and weapons. Nobody, and I mean nobody, uses hollow point ammo for training purposes. Nobody. No one can afford to. Hollow point is far more expensive than ball or regular round-nosed ammo. No one, and I mean no one. If you find me an expert who says that we practice with hollow point, I'll bring him on this show and I'll recant my statement. But you won't. You won't find one. There aren't any. No one uses hollow point for practice. Speaking of guns, speaking of ammunition, I have an opportunity for those of you who are interested in a concealed carry program. I have a class that's going to be happening here in West Plains this Saturday. It's an all-day event. It's about an 8-hour class because in order to get your concealed carry, you have to have you have to have so many hours of classroom training, and then you have to actually qualify with shooting a revolver and a semi-automatic. But here's the rub on this one, and this is a great thing. Even if you don't have your own gun, you can take this class for $60, and it will include the use of a weapon and ammunition. And if you want to bring your own, you can. The class is simply $50. Holy smoke, said you. And if you haven't said that, that's what you ought to say. Basically, here's the deal. This class is on Saturday at 9 o'clock in West Plains. I'm going to give you a phone number, and I'm going to give you an email address. And when you call this gentleman, I want you to tell him that you were listening to America's Voice and you want to take this class. It's Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's here in West Plains. He'll give you all the details. The gentleman's name is Darren Walters. He is a certified concealed carry instructor, and he'll sign off on the documentation so you can take it down to the license bureau and get your stamp and all of that. If you've ever wanted to get your concealed carry class taken and done inexpensively, now's your chance. $60 per person if you use his guns and ammo, or $50 if you bring your own. Okay? Darren's phone number is 417-270-1052. He's got an email address also, which is wildboy, WILDBOY, 1978. That's wildboy1978 at yahoo.com. He's down in the Thayer area, but he's going to be teaching this class here in West Plains this Saturday. That's 2 days from now. And you make sure that you're prepared to take this. You're not going to find anybody who's going to teach this class for that kind of money anywhere else, folks. So I strongly encourage that you get your concealed carry certification out of the way and do it right now. $60 if you use his guns and ammo, $50 if you bring your own. Wow. I mean, that is just an outstanding opportunity. He's doing this as a public service because there have been so many incidents where people, since all of this gun ban talk has been rolling around, that have expressed a desire to be able to get their concealed carry. And so here's your opportunity and your chance to get it taken care of quickly. Darren Walters at 417-270-1052. $60 per person if you use his weapons and ammo, $50 if you bring your own, and it's 270. See, I got two phone numbers here. It's interesting. 417-270-1052, and then the second number says 1053. So, frankly, I'm not sure which one is the right one, so I apologize. Write them both down. Call one. If you don't get an answer there, call the other one. 417-270-1052 or 1053. You can also get a hold of him at wildboy1978 at yahoo.com. That's wildboy1978 at yahoo.com. Make sure that if this is something you're interested in, you act quickly, because his class will fill up very fast at that price, and then you'll be out on the outside looking in. Also, we have our reloading class this Saturday at 9 a.m. also. And this is a full-day event where you're going to learn how to reload metallic cartridges. The class cost is $100. It's going to be held here in West Plains, and if you send me some email or information on it, it's also posted up on our Facebook page. And basically what you'll have is a full day of instruction that teaches you how to reload metallic cartridges. You're going to walk away from there with a ton of material and information, written documentation. I strongly encourage you to bring a pen, pencil, and a highlight marker, and bring yourself a bottle of water or whatever so that you're comfortable, and bring your brilliant God-given mind and educate yourself about how to reload. In this time when ammo is in such short supply, the number one thing that you can do to make a difference is know how to load your own. In other words, if you can't buy it somewhere else and you can't load it, you're out of luck. If you can't buy it somewhere else but know how to reload your own, at least you have that skill and that capability and can take action to preserve your ability to have it. So I strongly encourage that. Also, we have a concealed carry class going off on April 6th and 7th. That's April 6th and 7th. And if you want to attend that class, we have a couple of seats left over. This was moved originally from last weekend because of the storm. And so the new date for the class is April 6th and 7th. This is a 2-day tactical pistol course. It's called Tac Pistol 1. And basically, it's 2 days. You'll shoot about 800 rounds. You can use a .22, by the way. And so the advantage to that, of course, is that you can buy 1,000 rounds of .22 for about $80 or $90 versus a 9mm or a .40. So if you're having trouble getting ammunition, that's the way to go. Just simply use a .22. And, the principles are the same, whether you're using a .22 or a 9mm. The goal of this class is to teach you how to work tactically and defensively with a pistol. And so you'll end up having a lot of work on how to carry, how to draw, how to present the weapon, how to do reloads, tactical and speed. What's the difference between cover and concealment? How do you shoot on the run? How do you shoot from multiple positions like prone or kneeling, standing, one-handed, left-handed, strong hand, weak-handed shooting, those types of things. I've taken many, many, many of these courses over the years, and I'm going to tell you that they will make you a much better shooter. They will also give you a newfound confidence in your abilities and in your confidence level in terms of being at home, being out in, if you are going to carry concealed, don't just go get a concealed carry license and then not continue with your training. You wouldn't go get a pilot's license and then never get in a plane for a few more years and then jump into a plane you've never been in before at a bunch of controls that you've never seen for a plane you've never tried to learn how to fly and get up there in the air, would you? I didn't think so. So make sure that you are working your skills and you're working your knowledge on a constant, consistent basis. The goal of this show, as always, is to educate, inform, motivate, and activate. All of these features are wrapped up in everything that we talk about every single day. Educate yourself, inform yourself and those around you in your circle of influence, motivate yourself to take action, and motivate others to take action, and then be active. Okay, we're going to wrap our show for the day. I thank you for joining with us. Saturday, by the way, Marjorie Wildcraft will be back. That is Saturday at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Marjorie Wildcraft will be on with us. She had to cancel her show earlier this week, but she has graciously agreed to come on Saturday in replacement. So make sure you're with us 8 to 9 on Saturday morning for Marjorie Wildcraft. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is KBMV Birch Tree is the Ozarks best news talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.